Welcome, everyone, to the lifting for May 30th, 2017. I am Christopher Stephen Jacobs, and along with my co-hosts, Joanna Michaels, and my mother, Katrina Schaff, joining us from Arizona. We are so happy you are all here with us tonight. We hope you have read our blog for tonight, and we will add a lot more tonight to this discussion. Please visit our website at thelifting2017.wixsite.com/thelifting. There is a lot there to see. For those with us live tonight, you will be able to share and ask questions, if we have enough time, that is. We really feel it is important to make these shows no more than 1 hour. So right now, everyone is on mute. If you have a question and we have time, you can get into the question queue by pressing *6. And then you will be asked again if you want to ask a question. Then you press 1. We will answer the questions in the order received. We are trying hard not to go over an hour on these shows. So if for some reason time runs out, please send any question to us at thelifting2017@gmail.com, and we will answer them on our Q&A shows. Our next Q&A show is Thursday, June 6th. So let's get started. Tonight, it is all about the inner workings of dreams and daydreams. But first, as always, we want to have an affirmation of blessing. My mother's going to give that tonight, so you're up.
Okay. Dreaming and daydreaming will help create your life as you want it. They are tools that shape the future you desire and deserve. Use these tools mindfully. Be intent on the details, and most of all, be aware and stay protected. Tobias.
All right, Joanna, why don't you go first tonight, then my mother, then I will go last.
Sure, Chris. So, as we said in the blog, there are many different things that occur in dream and daydreaming time. Much is good, but there can be manipulation and oppression as well. We have recommended a daily revocation of any agreements made during these times. And we have tonight more specifics we can give everyone listening to help understand the need for this type of revocation until we learn and grow into basically not needing it. So basically, I think it is a natural kind of for everyone to say things like, well, I would never give permission to be used and abused in any state, including in dream time and daydreaming time. And we agree. If a being was presenting himself in a way that this intent to oppress was known, then you would not give consent. But yet, they have been getting consent. This really is a truth. So how? Well, it is because they have stretched the permission truth to mean if you say yes or accept even innocent things, that they then feel freely to interpret it as consent for all. Yes, this really is kind of that corrupt evil at its finest. One evening when Chris and I were speaking to Anubis, he said that we would start to remember dreams that would give us a better understanding of all of this. For humans, what would need to happen is to realize what was happening in the dream state, discern what type of dream we were in, and basically not to accept gifts from others. So we were like, okay, we're ready. Let us see so we can spread the word. It only took a day or so for from that particular conversation for the dreams to start coming in. So we want to share some of these to help everyone understand, and we will all give a couple. So I'm going to start first, and the first one I'm going to talk about is a dream that I had, and it was literally as simple as getting into a police car. So this dream was pretty simple. Chris and I were outside and around a police car. There was someone else with us, and we decided to get in the police car just to take a ride. After talking about this with the guides, in this scenario, What I did not realize was that the actual demon here was the police car itself. And so when we got in, it was interpreted as consent. So Chris, if you've listened to some of his other readings with different people, he's kind of referred to this type of entity as a mimicker, that it can take the shape of anything. So what happened was this. When I actually got into the front passenger side of the police car and the door started shutting, I could not stay in this sitting position, a sitting up position. It's like the space contorted and it got too small. And I was forced into a reclining and then into a lying position where I was lying flat on my back. When I realized what had occurred after remembering this dream, I was really sickened. And I am sure that this is what happens to people when they are actually physically messed with at times. And this is how it occurs. So that dream was really made clear. And again, I woke up once I had kind of reached that lying position. I then woke up. I know my guides pulled me out of that. They just wanted me to get an understanding. So that is one particular type of dream where, where it was so innocent, but yet there was evil on the other side of that. The next dream was about at a hospital that I had ended up at, and I'll tell you it this way. In this dream, I remember trying to get away from someone, and I was in a vehicle with someone else, and I don't remember exactly who. I was dropped off at a hospital and was hiding there as a patient. So I was hiding within this, pretending to be a patient. Then there were rounds being made, and I knew I needed to get out. I pretended to be a visitor just leaving and wanted to get outside and away from it all, awaiting for a particular driver to come and pick me up. There was an amazing amount of people being dropped off and picked up there, and it was really quite busy. Although I thought I was being secretive, several times a person tried to come up to me and give me my medication. I kept refusing it, and my ride never seemed to show up. And then I woke up. After speaking with the guides on this one, I was proud that I did not accept the medication, but I had not realized that I had accepted a car ride that took me there in the beginning. So I consented to something, it seemed. Since my ride never materialized, I wondered if I would have been kept there until I accepted the medication. And basically the guide said yes. They just would have worn you down. You finally would have said yes, and they would have gotten you that way as well. So from what Lentisar explained, this is where the bad guys used a previous memory of mine, which was being taken to a hospital when I did not want to be there. And then trickery to get me to consent to whatever they wanted to do with me. And this, again, is another way where they use your memories, existing memories, and they create things, and they confuse, and they get your consent in all kinds of different ways. So the next, and the funny thing about this, I'll just tell you, for me, when I was having these dreams, it's like bam, bam, bam. I was having them consecutive nights for several nights, and it was like they just wanted me to get this, so that every night I was kind of hammered with this. So this is probably the third night, and this kind of sequence that I was in was really to help me understand how hard right now it is not to give consent, that we do it all the time. So in this instance, it wasn't about remembering the whole dream sequence. It was about waking up from the dream. So here I basically am waking up from a dream, and I am saying to myself something like, okay, all I need to do is become a part of the nature group. And so like I was giving consent to become a part of the nature group. And as I literally then am, after I hear myself and I'm looking, I literally see my dragon guide's face in front of me. And she is shaking her head back and forth, no. And then I realized that this was a trick. And right then and there, before I opened my eyes to really be awake, I did the revocation in my head because I realized, oh, I was duped. And then I fell back to sleep. I awoke a few hours later doing the exact same thing and seeing my guide Lentisar shaking her head, no. I recognized that I had fallen for it again, then said the revocation, then I fell back to sleep. I did this again, not one more time, but 2 more times, each time with my guide shaking her head no, and me getting more frustrated that I couldn't seem to stop agreeing. And this, again, was all an exercise to let me know just how hard it is to understand and gain control of our dream state. So it was frustrating, but you got to think it was funny, a little bit funny, because when I told Chris of this dream sequence, it really was kind of an eye-opener, but we really laughed out loud because it was kind of like that movie Groundhog Day. And so, at that moment, we kind of found humor in it, too, because it's just so hard to believe how intricate all of this is and how easy this seems to be for them. And so this last night, because again, I was getting this crash course in all of this, it really is one of those things that may be the funniest. And not that this isn't a serious topic, but Chris really, even when we talk about it now, finds it very funny. But so in this dream, a being was trying to give me something, and I seemed to finally have it together and kept saying no. And that being got frustrated after a while and then threw the stuff at me anyway. It was like, no. And the things are being thrown at me. And it was kind of, if you can imagine, like this slow motion throw and all this stuff heading my way, which I knew I didn't want to stick to me, really. So at that moment, as this slow motion stuff and this stuff is coming towards me, I am literally in the dream kind of denying it and doing this revocation that it wasn't allowed and trying to declare my sovereignty right then and there. And then I woke up. So this is kind of some of the examples that I've had that I wanted to share. Mm-hmm. And so next I want to turn it over to Katrina and give us your thoughts.
Good evening, everyone. The definition of dreaming in the dictionary is a series of thoughts, images, or emotions occurring during sleep, usually during the REM time. This is the kind of dream we are used to talking about and experiencing. This kind of dream is sometimes marked by abstraction or a release from reality. It can be beautiful or it can be disturbing. There's also the vision dreaming we have in a trance-like state while awake. This can be caused by daydreaming, your imagination, or when a guide or loved one comes through with a message for you to think about or to act on. The vision can seem very normal, or it can have the characteristics of a dream. When the vision comes through, it is usually preceded by a calming energy that fills the room and your body. Some feel this energy is caused by leaving your body or going into another dimension, and or the messenger is coming to your dimension. I feel it's a little bit of both. I always feel the dreamer and the messenger are meeting on common ground or in a dimension that both of their bodies can deal with. Then there's that prophetic dream in which you see something that is very vivid, and it can be a warning about something that is going to happen in the future. It may be that you can possibly change the course of the event, or it can be something that ends up being written in stone. These dreams can be frightening, and most people do not share these dreams because they cannot understand why they are being shown something that they really cannot change. Usually when this occurs, I feel we have tapped into the future event or an event that has taken place in another universe. If it is a negative event, we relive it because it was very traumatic and is imprinted on our mind. We can and should put our energy towards possibly changing that event in this universe. If it is a personal positive event, why not share it or at least give it energy to become reality? Then there's the nightmare. A nightmare can seem very real and in some cases is very real. This is the dream you feel you have no control over, and it always plays on your deepest fears. We can wake up screaming or crying over this and even be afraid to go back to sleep because it may start all over again, and it usually does. All these types of dreams can seem weird, funny, confusing, and sometimes terrifying. They all have their purpose, I guess, but the important thing is to discern and determine what was really good, what was not good, and most importantly, how can I keep this from happening to me again? We all try to interpret our dreams, and we try to figure out what it is about and what does it mean. It has taken me many years to understand the power and the manipulation of the dream state. As I look back on my life and my dreams, most of them were manipulation. The dreams that are the scariest are the ones that involved abduction and seduction. I first remember this type of dream at around 12 years old. I would be taken to a place that I was familiar with and had good memories of. It was a cabin on the lake where I spent many summers with my family and had such a good time, or to a schoolroom of my favorite teacher, or a home that I lived in and had wonderful memories of. My most occurring dream was that I was alone for a time in one of these pleasant places when a man would walk in and move towards me with a big smile. He was so handsome, and he always said and did just the right things to make me trust him. At that age, you do not always like whom you are and what you look like. So anyone that pays attention to you and tells you that you are beautiful and special, you crave their company. It continued to happen to me over and over through my teens, my 20s, and on and off for the rest of my life. It took me years to discover I was being abducted, sexually violated, and being used for agendas beneficially only to the beings abducting me. When I finally figured it all out, I felt violated, extremely naive, and terrified to go to sleep. These events slowed down when I became aware of what was really happening to me, and also the fact that I could no longer have children. They still happened, but it was for other reasons. Whether it was my blood type or my DNA, I did my best to refuse to let it happen again, and I started to fight back. You have to get angry, and you have to fight for your life. The more problems you cause them, the less and less they want to be involved with you. No one has this right to do this to you. Do not stand for it, and use your power to put an end to it. Yes, this does work. Along with protecting yourself, doing the revocations, and also being very aware of what is really taking place is the most important. I'm sharing this so everyone knows that your power and consistency with protection can help you ward off this situation. I normally do not share these personal things with everyone, but if I can help someone, then it is my responsibility to share my story. And as a side note, that handsome man that came to me all those years was a Draco. I did not find this information out until many years later. Another dream that can be beautiful, but it's often misread, is the dream where the people you have lost come to you in a dream. My mother died in December of 2015. I have the ability to usually see people that cross over, but for some reason I could not connect with my mother. I was putting that out so strong that I wanted to see her one more time that I got my wish. It was about 5 a.m., and I felt like I had been transported somewhere. In my dream state, I was taken to my mother's house, and I was lying in a bedroom in that house. I rolled over and saw my mother lying beside me smiling. The next second, I was lifted out of bed by a strong force that literally picked me up into a standing position and pushed me out of the bedroom, down the hall, and into the kitchen. There again, my mother was standing in shadow in the corner. I said, "Mom, is that you?" And she said, "Yes." I told her I missed her and I loved her. She was not as warm as I would have wanted her to be, but I thought maybe she was still sick and not herself yet. We walked outside into a beautiful garden and we talked, but I do not remember anything that was said. We ended up in a school-like cafeteria, and she said that she had to go, and she left me in this room. I saw several people I did not recognize, and I also saw and talked to other friends that had crossed over. Before long, I was awake in my own bed. At first, I was happy because I saw my mother. I couldn't wait to tell my family. Then I rolled over, and I was racked with pain throughout my body. For the next 2 weeks, I had trouble walking because of the pain. I'm telling this dream, or whatever it was, because I want you to be aware of what is really taking place. After the fact, it was obvious that I had been abducted again. I had opened myself up to one more of the oldest tricks out there, and they played on my need to see my mother, my desperation to see my mother. They used that information to get to me one more time. If it does not seem logical or magical, it is probably not a good thing. Nothing that is spiritual or loving will ever cause you pain or doubt about what you see or what you do. Just be aware of the tricks, and if you're going to put something out to the universe so strongly, be sure you protect yourself and do your revocations. My mother did come to me a few weeks ago. It was beautiful and loving, and most of all, it was truly my mother. Protect yourself at all times, and have that intention inside you that you will not tolerate anyone or anything you do not consent to. Dreaming, whether you're asleep or imagining and creating daydreams of what you want to have or experience, is a powerful thing. Dreams, visions, daydreams are powerful and should be used for the things and experiences we truly want in our lives. None of the things said tonight was meant to frighten you out of dreaming. Just be aware that your thoughts, your desires, your fears, etc., are something that is listened to. They are listened to by those that do not have your best interest and only their agenda in mind. But they're also heard by those that love and protect you. Your job is to discern and only allow the positive things into your mind and into your heart. Thank you for listening, and many blessings to all of you. Chris?
Yes, so that was very good. Tonight I will speak about a few of my dreams that are prime examples of dreamtime dealings and agreements. When I first began to hear about this concept, I then asked the guides to show me the intricacies of this process, what happens to make people agree to the unthinkable at times. Some things range from very blatant to very subtle. All the while, the guides are helpless to say anything until you, the unsuspecting dreamer, notices. You heard Joanna speak of the incident with the car. This is only one type from what I've seen. Here are a few examples of what I mean. This one I titled, The Lady in White. On the very night I asked the guides to show me the inner workings of this dreamtime process, I had a dream of a lovely girl in a white dress holding a pile of money and quote-unquote opportunities. The environment was very cave-like. She said all I had to do was accept the money and be with her. As she spoke, I turned to my left and saw Cameron, that's the crystal skull I have sitting next to me, one of the crystal skulls appearing in a stone wall. I walked over to him and saw him kind of scowl at me a bit. Then he turned his sights on the woman. As he looked at her, she began to stammer and become very nervous, very much as if a criminal had been caught dealing drugs. This was exactly the information that I had asked for. This process goes unseen and unnoticed by so many people and can send one's life into an utter tailspin. Even one unrevoked dreamtime deal can do anything from stagnating a person's path to ending a marriage. All the while, the person or persons are left to scratch their head. Now, undoing this with the dreamtime revocation every morning can begin to turn this process around. Sometimes it is immediate, and other times it is a process. I have encountered ones that happen so quickly that a person's life changes the same day. This one I entitled, The Nazi, the Programmer, and the Gamer. This next example was also quite blatant to me in very much the same way as the, we'll say, demon girl. I had gotten into a limo and was driven through a very lively city. A driver in sunglasses let me out, and I was shown the entrance to an underground nightclub. This nightclub was very deep underground, very much like the fake Agartha was. That's what I mentioned in the 100-year disclosure episode. As I entered a cave-like room, another cave, I saw a bar with a German man as the bartender. He spoke to a person that I could barely see and walked over to me. He proceeded to hand me a cookie that was oddly shaped and a bank slip that said negative $3,000+. The cookie resembled a geometric grid of chess tiles, brown and yellow, possibly meaning two of the races used in deceptionary tactics. I'll get to that in a moment. This is something the guides told me long after the fact. I took them from him and walked over to an opening in the cave wall where I saw a large arena. In this arena, There was a sporting event going on. The motif was the same as the cookie. The players all wore checker pattern clothing. I feel this was showing me pieces on a game board being used in real life, quote unquote, on the surface, such as the evening news, where certain races are always shown as committing crimes and the like. As I watched, 3 darker-skinned people approached me and turned me around to face them. One of them spoke for the others. As he spoke, I noticed his upper lip looked like it had chocolate on it, but in fact it was a secondary lip designed to hide what was underneath. In all actuality, these 3 men were reptilian, and possibly the German guy and his cohort were as well. This also reflected the for and against that we spoke of on the episode called Let's Play Chess, whereas these beings were and are the cause of the race wars we see in the news. As an aside, the yellow squares that were shown on the cookie were a representation of another layer to the race hatred programming. As the black-white race division fades, the secondary measure for them was to spark hatred for China. This is why people have seen Chinese soldiers along the west coast of the U.S. China was also tricked into this for and against by being promised California, Oregon, and Washington State to pay off the U.S.'s debt to them. Then, upon seeing the Chinese taking up land on the coast, everyday people would think they were, quote-unquote, taking over. This has been the cabal backup plan if the black-white race war failed to produce enough negative energy for their, quote-unquote, gods. But neither are in play now. And also, the Dreamtime revocation helps out with this because people begin to notice these things come through their dreams and begin to manifest differently. So, on to the next one. In the company of animals. This was a strange one that I found out was a spaceship, but was also a Dreamtime dealing. I awoke for a moment and fell back to sleep. I was then in a building that resembled a museum. It was made of stone and had windows along a ceiling panel. There was a man leading people down a winding hallway to a room that he told us that we would need a certain ID or ticket to enter. While everyone else followed instructions, I wandered off and found a man in a security guard uniform that was chasing a smaller wiener dog. As I went to help him, another dog appeared. This one was a small mutt. As I grabbed both of them, I entered the guard's room. I kissed the 2 dogs and handed them back to him. He told me that they, quote-unquote, always seemed to get away. The guard had the markings of one of Michael's people, if not Michael himself. This meant 2 dogs were sent to divert me to Michael and an environment that he controlled, an illusion that he controlled so that I was safer. The way that I know this is that the guard kiosk was not there when I first went down the hallway. Animals will enter our dreams too to divert us away from things that are dangerous. If you see a little animal guide in a dream, it could be anything from a bird to a dog. I even had a llama one time. These are all animal guides or guardians that are trying to divert you away from something hostile. So this one was also an interesting one. This was very detailed. This one's called Which Doctor is Who? I was in a strange dream where a demon took the form of Matt Smith as the Doctor from Doctor Who. There were both good and bad sides displayed, but I saw the bad one first. He resembled the Doctor, but he had very ugly teeth that looked like a cross between shark teeth and lizard teeth. As I moved away from him, I was with a good version of the Doctor. We ran up a darkened street and entered a restaurant. There were several people there, but only 3 spoke to us. There was a young girl, a middle-aged woman, and a young man. The young man tried to block us from entering the kitchen, while the woman cursed at us. This was a Hispanic family, and we were surrounded in Hispanic decor and spiritual tools. He tried to explain that it was the bad guy who hurt or injured them, but they did not believe him. We had to run out of the restaurant. The scene suddenly changed to a darkened road with a forest lining both sides of the road. As I walked further, there was a large church in the distance that had a double steeple with double-ringed golden and black crosses on top. As I approached the church, I noticed that it was much larger than before, a cathedral, in fact. I went inside and saw the evil doctor, quote-unquote, killing and eating people. I began to chase him, but was stopped by a hand behind me. Well, the cuff of my shirt was pulled from behind. The scene changed again to me running to a home in the desert that had a black and gold RV parked underneath a carport. I ran past it and to a chain-link fence with a small gate. I ran inside a ranch-style home and shut the door. I knew others were with me, but I could only see them out of my peripheral vision. As I attempted to go back outside, I saw one of the decrepit chair demons flying towards me. This is what I meant by decrepit chair demon. They kind of resemble a gray alien, but mixed with a Halloween-type ghoul, and this is essentially where this particular iconography comes from. So this is where it ended, but I would like to say this. This is an aside from this. What this all meant was one of the chair demons was trying to trick me into accepting it into the dream time. He tried both the evil bad guy in the hopes that I would chase him to the ends of the earth, and the downtrodden good guy, blamed for every bit of the world's evils. Since the demon could not hide its true appearance from me for very long, it came to me with the bad side first, hoping that I would fall for the good guy's plight. When I fell for neither, he chased me into a future Arizona with our RV. This was something we were talking about at one time, and this was mimicked in the dream time. That was a threat to demolish our future and make it more predictable. Our emotions, either noble, angry, or showing compassion when aimed at these mimickers, as I call them, will only fuel them further. They are not to be felt sorry for, quested over, or placated to in any way, shape, or form. All energy or thought other than that of releasing them will fuel them. They are a future. They are of a future unwritten. So it is up to us to view them as the timeline we never want to become. This means never, and I mean never, giving them any attention other than the aforementioned. It is over for them, but for us, the world has just begun anew. So what I want to help people understand is how important it is to wake up each morning and do the dream time revocation. Also, as you grow, you will bring this into your dreams and start to take charge in more of these dreams. But it will be a while before we are totally in charge, so please use this revocation or write your own. The one we wrote goes as follows. Now, the one on the card I passed around is a little shorter than this one. This is the more elongated version. I, and then there's a blank, do hereby revoke any permissions given to any malicious being or beings during my sleep and during my dreaming and daydreaming time, in any dimension, collapsing timeline, invading timeline, parallel universe, and rogue expression. This applies to all possible pasts, the present, and all possible futures. It is forever so. And now with that, I send it back over to you, Joanna.
Yes, so we really hope these examples have really helped everyone tonight understand a little bit more about how things aren't what you think they are in dream times and how easy it is to be misled and by those corrupt beings who interpret all kinds of action as just generalized consent. So with this being said, Chris, what do you think the Galactics have to say about this?
Let me see here. I'm going to see who's actually around me. I know there's more than what I'm seeing here. I can feel a large number. I do know as I was reading this in the beginning, there were several pokes at my back. Other negative beings have tried to nail me ever since we started, nail us, excuse me, ever since we started writing this particular script for this episode. These beings, these negative beings, do not want this information known. It always seems that when we're on the correct path, we get poked a little bit harder to try to skew us from that path. So just remember, if you're getting downtrodden a little bit and you're doing everything right, it means you're doing everything right. So that there was a guide that was nodding at me here when I said that. Okay, who is it that I'm looking at here? Okay, let me see. Oh, you want me to guess as who you are? Okay. Are you look Viking to me, but I'm going to have you give me your identity before I let you anywhere near me. Okay. You are... okay. Really? Okay, he says his name is Vlors, but I have not heard from this Vlors in quite some time. He has red hair, and he's extremely tall, and I'm going to confer with other guides. Okay. I'm going to confer with a couple others I'm starting to see here. Okay, Volstagg says fine. Lanchazar says fine. Whoever you are sitting in the chair, you say fine. But you feel good, so okay. Sometimes I can't always tell who they are. I just know they're benevolent. So, okay. All right. One of Vlors wants to speak. So, okay. I will bring him in. And for my highest good, I bring about this opening of the circle only to benevolent forces. Thank you. All right. Good evening. My name is Vlors, and I am one you would call a Norse Viking. I wish to speak on this subject of dreams because I had to bear witness to a timeline that some would consider very much like a dream. It was consented to over and over and over again, much to my chagrin, as you humans would say. This particular timeline, I had to watch my brethren and my family over and over again relive the same battles and the same defeats over and over again, inside what you would call the grand illusion, that at that time it was much smaller than it is today. At that particular moment in time, my family, you would know as House M and the Norse pantheon, this would be Odin, this would be Thor and the like, were defeated at the hands of an ancient enemy you know of as the Harvesters. However, this defeat they wanted to happen over and over and over again so they could take the energy for centuries. However, there were others on the outside of the bubble, as it were, that had to watch this, as you would call, Groundhog Day moment happen for centuries on end, watching our family members die and be reborn again. However, one in the group broke the chain and broke the circle by actually revoking the very pattern that he began to witness. You would know this particular individual as Thor, god of thunder in the mythologies. However, his real name was that of Eros. Now, this man is very different than the one you know of as Valiant Thor. This will be explained in a much later episode where Valiant Thor is present. But I digress. The one known as Eros, the one with the very famous hammer, Mjolnir. This was an actual key to disrupting the very illusion that our family was entrapped in. This particular key knocked down the illusion walls very much like a domino effect. When one wall fell, the rest fell. This was a collapse that ended up taking the life of my kinsman. But in that effect, it opened the illusion up wider, sending a cascade effect across the minds of my family, then setting them free. This, you may think, was done in the midst of battle, but what it required was a set of words to open this particular door, not just a hammer knocking down a wall. You see, Mjolnir was a key. This particular key needed a certain set of tones in order to open this particular domino effect, or this portal or doorway. In front of this doorway was a legendary monster, you would say, but it is what you would call, and what we would call, an illusion. This illusion is known to us as a spectral inclusion, where something, such as an implant, is embedded in stone, and a consciousness is saved within it. This particular Draco consciousness was saved within this, and known as the dragon entity, Jormungr, in Norse mythology. This particular fight did not happen as much as the Norse mythology says that it did. My family made an effort to make Thor or Eros' passing seem much larger than it was. He would have wanted it this way. So, we took this particular hammer and have immortalized it in story and song over the very centuries that have existed for you, but not for us. When this illusion opened up, it paved the way for my family to escape what you humans know as Ragnarok. This event will never take place. It was set aside to a dark timeline, the very dark timeline that eventually became the dark timeline that bred those you know of as the Harvesters. This is a bit of history that no one until this point has heard of or seen. This was an after effect of setting my family free, but I digress. They now can aid in freeing everyone from this particular mindset that they are trapped or enslaved in some way. You are far from slaves, everyone. Your dreams prove this now that you know and hold and wield this sword of information, such as the Dreamtime Revocation. You are our kinsmen, our brothers and sisters in arms. We do not mean in war. We mean in peacetime. We mean in all things loving. But there is such a thing as defense. This Dreamtime Revocation, think of it as a shield of defense and a sword of defense. This is what I have come to say this evening. Blessings to all of you. Thank you. Whew. All right. Now, he has not come back in quite some time. I was in California the last time I channeled Vlors. So that was quite some time ago. Let me see. Who else wanted to? Who's raising their hand over here? Okay. Yeah, me. I know me, but who are you? I can hardly see you. You look too small to be one of the Viking warriors. Let me see. You look like a midget next to them, but you're really as tall as I am. See, let's see. Let me see here. You look. You're brand new here. Let me see. Oh, Vlors is giving me the thumbs up on this one. Even though, what species are you, friend? Let me see. He seems to be of one of the bug races. This is why I was very skeptical of him. But this looks to be someone that they actually said was okay the other day as well. So, let me see here. And he wants to speak on behalf of what? Okay, also dreams. Okay, I guess this is appropriate because a lot of the insectoid races, the bad ones, are called the dreaming bugs by the Sasquatch people. So this is actually appropriate. So, for the highest good, I let you in only if you are benevolent in nature. All right. Greetings, everyone. My name is not currently pronounceable to your human tongues. This is actually more or less a formal apology on behalf of a lot of my kind out there. I can only make this message brief because my energy matrices is incompatible with this one's speech patterns. Because my density is such outside of his range of perception, This is why he could not see me clearly. The others could. So I will make it brief. My kind, you called them the insectoid races, though there are much more numerous than you believe. The ones you call the mantids span the gambit, as you would say, from dark to light. The all insectoid races have the ability to invade dream time and engage in dealings and the like. They can also show themselves as anything they wish and manipulate using their sometimes not so large brains, in my opinion. My race is on the cusp of change. This means some of them are scared to continue onward. Some have actually been born and bred here on your earth since the time of that repeating Ragnarok, and still join in the, as you would call, death march to a beat that no longer exists. In this respect, they go after anyone who is around. They subjugate those they do not even know the face of. They just extract energy and the like. These are more animalistic in nature and were around, as I said, at the time of Ragnarok. Now, on to the future kind. Some of them are mantids, and some of them are grasshopper-like. Some of those are the kind ones, as much as the one you know of as Bugnassi. Now, the ones in this time are not so kind. I straddle the fence between both the future kind and the current kind, since one of my parents was that of future kind, and one of them of your current day and age. In this respect, I can actually speak for both sides and try to build a bridge between past and future into your current present day, so that my species is seen in a much better light and acts as such as they are supposed to and meant to do. So, I must warn all of you, the dreaming bugs, as this one and the Anakam people have called us. This is a very true concept. So watch for your dreams, that they may hold the clue to whether my kind have invaded your dreams at all. In this respect, you will always feel a paralyzing field, a breath at your neck and a poke at your back by those who are no longer friends of mine. Thank you. All right. I'll see if anyone else wants to say anything to that. Who's waving at me? Okay. Oh, really? Well, this is kind of a surprise here. I'm going to make sure this is him before I announce any names. This is someone who I have not spoken to in quite some time. He is of a race from the inner earth known as Darrow. I don't speak to the Darrow very often. They go down, they have gone down in mythology as elephantine people, or elephant-looking people. And they, this particular one, people would recognize as Ganesha. I did not expect him to actually be here this evening. And I'm checking him over several times here, even after identified. Okay. All right. Okay. His energy feels much higher. So, I will see what he has to say this evening on dreams. Okay. Higher vibration. Let's see. Ah, yes, hooray, everyone. My name, as you know me to be, is Ganesha, and I am of a species that resides in your inner earth known as the Darrow. I was interpreted in many dreams and in visions and fantasies and imaginings as an elephant person, but since the fact that your elephants on your world are slightly different in nature and animalistic in nature, I can honestly say that my species are not of that. But I digress. My species came from the world you know of as Maldek. When it exploded, we retreated to the inner earth. In the days of old, my species came to people in dreams and in visions to bring about a better age of mankind, so that what happened to Maldek did not happen to your world. We also came in to counteract the AI threat you know of as the Harvesters, since they too invade dreams many, many times over. They take the forms of those ghouls and like, as what was aforementioned. So, in this respect, my kind stepped it up, as it were, and took it upon themselves to become some instances of musings over the centuries. We helped people write sonnets and songs, and write all sorts of interestingly worded plays and poems, so that they could learn how to counteract these particular things in the written word. When the instances of this did not always work, we came to them in dreams and aided them in that respect in a more active pursuit. The written word is very powerful, dear ones, because this Dreamtime revocation is much older than this one, and this other one seemed to think that it is. This Dreamtime revocation has been around for centuries, but in this new energy, it gives these written words more oomph, as you would say, to aid and repel not only the dreaming bugs, but the ghouls and the dark night as well. I will say only this to this particular process. Focus well on your dreams, be they happy or be they not so happy. What I mean is this: focus on your happy dreams and manifest them in the now. Focus on these other ones so that you know when to revoke them and know when a Dreamtime dealing has taken place at all. Thank you. Whew. All right. Is he the only one that wanted to talk now? Or was there someone else? I get the feeling there's another person here that wants to talk. Okay. Who just sat on our floor here? Very big, hairy person, looks like a Sasquatch. Yes, I know you're a Sasquatch. Yes, you're shaking your head like a bobblehead. Okay. Okay. Yes, you're giving me the thumbs up. And I'm going to, you look very different from a regular Sasquatch, though. Oh, you're of a different species that I didn't count on being here tonight. Another one I did not count on being here. I'm going to ask if this is a particular race that I only recently heard of. Okay. Even though this particular guy looks like a baboon, he is not of the troll variety. He would call them his idiot cousins. So, yes, okay, yes, okay. They're all giving me thumbs up. Yeah, okay. And I'm using my own intuition to discern this. Okay, his energy is fairly light, so I'm going to give him the floor. Let's see. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kritak, and I am of a variety of apish human you would know as Sasquatch, but only in a certain respect. My people's true name is known as the Sirinakam, and we come from a parallel world to your own. We also had DNA stolen from us in the dark times and manipulated by several races that all take and hold credence over our genome. In this respect, I must also warn you of a species that resembles my own, that exists in the swamps of your United States, in the mountains of your United States and worldwide. Unfortunate. In this respect, these poor beings are controlled. They were controlled because of their dreams. In this respect, they used to be one with our own people, but in this respect, I must say and reiterate that the only way that these harvester greys, as you would call them, were able to control them with rods in their minds is this. Their minds were at a state where they were not familiar with themselves. They were lost to us before they were lost to everyone else. We, the Cyrenaica, saw our own become that of which we were frightened of. The trolls of the dark night, the face-eaters of your history. We wished this not to happen. And repeat, the reason we say this happened in their dreams is this. Their hearts were darkened with greed at the fact that they could control a universe instead of control their own beloved space. This is also, as I've said, why they are the lost ones. This is also true of some draconian species, but I will not get into them just yet. Their history speaks for themselves, but I digress. I must say, in this very short interim, that I am here. I am grateful that I am here to speak about this incident now. Even though this has been spoken of in your storybooks over the centuries, it has been convoluted and contorted by your species' propensity for fear of the unknown. So, I wish to say this. Our idiot cousins, history notwithstanding, my species, the Cyrenaica, bids you all welcome and love from the bottom of our hearts, as you would say. I am that of the forest. I am that of the waters. I am that of stone. I am that of ice. I am that of fire. This is the power my people wish to help you see and wield in time. We come from the world of magic, after all. Thank you. Whew. All right. These are three people that I did not expect to show up tonight. Kreetok, I hadn't heard from him since Christmas. Ganesha, even longer. And Vlors, even longer still. So that was actually very interesting that they came through. Maybe we have time for one more if somebody wants to raise their hand. Who is raising their hand? Yes, Volstagg, I recognize you. Thank you. Okay. Oh, wait, no. You just happen to look like Volstagg. No, he's over here. Oh, sorry, Merlin. You look like your great-grandfather over here. Okay. Let's see. Grandfather, excuse me. When Merlin's joking, he says, yes, you can call him quite old. Okay. Merlin, I didn't expect you to be here either. So, he's also known as, people would know him as Archangel Raphael. So, let's see. Ooh. Greetings, all of you. I am the one known as Merlin, and the one known as Raphael. You may think that is a double standard in names, but I must show you that we all can choose our own name and choose our own place and our own destinies. In this respect, you can also choose what happens in your own dreams, in your own minds, in your own hearts. You are not controlled, everyone. You are not under the control of any boot, anywhere, anytime, in your histories, in any timeline, and anywhere, fallen or otherwise. You are all free, sovereign, thinking human beings. You can take control of your own dreams just as easily as you can walk into the next room, just as easily as you can look in a particular direction, and just as easily as you can raise your finger to the sky. You can just as easily take control of your own dreams. Recognize the signs and the symbols that are false within these dreams. Nothing is as it seems, everyone. Nothing in your world, the waking world as well as the dreaming world, nothing is as it seems. There is joy everywhere in your waking world, and there is joy in your dreams. Make sure that joy spreads to your dreams, and make sure that these demons of the dark night do not take control of what is most precious to you, that is your own hearts and your own minds and your own souls. This is what I have come to say this evening. I am Merlin. I am also Raphael, and I bid you good night, everyone. Thank you. Oh, he comes through incredibly strong. All right. Whew. believe that's all we have time for this evening. So I will let Joanne. Oh, what do you wish to say?
All right.
Yeah, so before we end up leaving tonight, I just want to say just a few things. I think for some people, it would be really normal to hear all of these things that we've said and then be afraid. And then now be afraid of your own dreams. And then now be afraid of what's really happening. And I think that's all very, very normal. What I want to tell people is that you need to look at this a little bit differently. Just like we were saying about let's play chess and not knowing the rules of the game, what we want to do is help you understand our understanding of what we're being told and how our world really is so that you can feel empowered. So in a sense of everything actually is happening and we're going to be going into spherical thinking and everything is happening at once, one of the things that helped me out understanding this a little bit better, because I myself was perfectly normal going, man, I don't want to have any bad dreams, I don't want to be manipulated, I don't want to be this or that. But realizing that it's a choice. And one of the choices you can do to make yourself feel better is I started actually saying, well, I didn't know if everything's happening in the now. I'm going to go ahead and pre-plan my night, and I'm going to go ahead and do the darn revocation here before I go to sleep so that it applies during my sleep. And for some reason, taking charge of it in that way, not that I didn't still do it in the morning, made me empowered to think that, well, it doesn't matter what the hell happens during this dreaming night because I just revoked it all. And we conferred with the guides who says there is nothing wrong with doing that and it will count. So for those of you that are feeling a little bit intimidated by all of this, say the revocation before you go to bed, let it apply for that night's worth of dreams. And then also understand that set your intentions before you go to sleep. There is value in understanding. So understanding like Chris and I did about how it all plays out, getting some examples and understanding how you were used and abused, that's fine. If you want to know it, that's fine. Just have your guides there, ask them to be there with you to kind of pull you out of harm's way. And remember to have joy and think of all of the things you want to be occurring and put intent out there to actually have joyful dreams, whether you remember them or not. So I don't want people to be left in fear. I know that I experienced some of that as well, but think of this as knowledge that's empowering, and then you can certainly now do something before you even lay your head down to go to sleep at night, and you will most likely see a difference. The only other thing I want to mention is what was said earlier when the bugs and about how the bad bugs are still around and to be leery of them is the literalness to what you were told. And what you were told is that if you feel the breath on your shoulder or you feel a poke in the back, and I am here to tell you, and Chris can tell you as well, those are very literal terms. So if you ever feel like you literally are being poked or prodded or breathed upon, that's your cue at that moment in time to go ahead and insert your sovereignty to your space around you and ask your guides, as well as you brighten your light, to clear the space that you are in, because it honestly is, from our experience, that literal. So I just want you all to be aware of that, to leave you all feeling extremely empowered tonight and not as much in fear. So anyway, that was my little addition clarification, Chris.
All right. I will read the affirmation and blessing. Then Joanna can read the announcements. So, this is from Volstagg. May all who dream with the power of love, and may you all come to, and may you all, sorry, I'm going to start over, I stammered. May all who dream with the power of love, and may you all come to realize that you hold the power, the true power over your life in your very own hand. Blessings to you all forevermore. Volstagg.
So thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight on The Lifting. And I'll just end with just a few announcements. Again, if you need a show fix, go to our website. That's thelifting2017.wixsite.com/thelifting. And I'm sure there is plenty there. Chris was busily actually adding things to his YouTube channel today. So what's that YouTube channel? If they go straight to that, what is that called?
The YouTube channel is youtube.com/Sage Paranormal Team as one word.
So I know it's not, I think some of the things he was putting up today he was doing under the Cosmic Exposure, right?
Yes.
Cosmic Exposure. The Cosmic Exposure banner, but it's actually very, very interesting. I'm going to convince him here shortly to go ahead and link that from our website. He hasn't done it yet. That way, anybody who goes to the website can probably keep up with anything that he posts, whether it's related to the lifting shows or not. So Chris will be very busy just as soon as we end the show tonight trying to get it all ready to put up on YouTube. We usually now just stay up and do that. So look for that in probably 3 or 4 hours or tomorrow when you wake up. Watch for our weekly blog. And next week, I am happy to announce that we are going to start getting really specific of the other entities that are around us. So we wanted to get through all of this, and then we wanted to start to really introduce you to the multitude of the different people. So we are going to start first with all things Sasquatch. So next week, we're going to have a special guest, and we are going to discuss the basics of Sasquatch and their role. And because I think as more and more people are seeing sightings, that is not by mistake. And we were going to start with the Sasquatch people. So that's what's going to happen on next Tuesday. Our next Q&A is set for Thursday, June 6th. We already have questions, and we need more. So please send them in to us, and you can do that to our Gmail address, which is thelifting2017@gmail.com. And again, you can set an appointment up for Chris or his mom, Katrina. Go to the website and look at the appointments tab. And again, as a reminder, they will not go over a 2-hour reading in one session. So thank you, everybody, for the 3 of us. We are just so happy that you guys are liking these shows and getting a lot of information out of it. We certainly get a lot back from you, and I can't stress enough, we need to hear your questions. It helps us know what to talk about. So for tonight, we bid you adieu, and we will see you next Tuesday on the next episode of The Listing. Take care, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody, and thank you.